Welcome back to The Fight. I'm Pete Byrne. Joining us now is the CEO of the Cleveland Clinic in London, Brian Donley. Brian is an orthopedic surgeon. Both he and his wife, Mary, come to us from the Notre Dame class of 1986. Dr. Donley, welcome to The Fight. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Pete.
Well, I'd like to start by asking you, please tell me, how are the state of things right now in London at the moment, and what has the impact been on your team currently?
Well, unfortunately, COVID has had a devastating impact in London and the United Kingdom. Unfortunately, the United Kingdom has the second most fatalities of any country in the world next to the US, and the most fatalities throughout all of Europe. So it's had a very significant impact, and certainly impact on our team at Cleveland Clinic London, as we are building a new hospital in central London. I will tell you, though, I think the one thing that's encouraging news is the spirit, and somewhat the spirit of Notre Dame that we know Notre Dame is, that spirit of generosity, of courage, of compassion. You see that throughout London. You see a tremendous volunteerism with people working in the National Health Service and volunteering their time to help with this fight of COVID. You see it in people helping throughout London and helping others.
Well, Brian, as the CEO of the Cleveland Clinic in London, you're bringing an enhanced new patient-centered culture to your hospital. Could you tell us about why that and why you feel it's so important?
Well, in healthcare, I think, it's really important, and maybe in all things we do, to cut to clarity and simplicity. And the reason we exist is for the patient. And so it's really important that it's always a focus on what's best for the patient. And so having a patient-centered culture allows us in all discussions and all planning and everything we do to always reflect what is the best interest of the patient. And as that guides our decision-making, it can really allow us to make better decisions as we construct a hospital, so that it truly does serve the best interest of the patient.
Now, I also understand that you taught a course at the Notre Dame London Global Gateway titled Healthcare, the Business of Empathy, in which you provide opportunities for Notre Dame students to intern at the Cleveland Clinic there in London. How impactful do you think this has been for your students, and also perhaps for you as well?
Well, I hope it's been impactful for the Notre Dame students. I can tell you it has been significantly impactful for me and for my wife, Mary. To be back around the Notre Dame students and just realize the passion, the quality of the individual of a Notre Dame student, the integrity. It's been a phenomenal experience to get to see that and feel that again. For Mary and me, it reminds us a lot of our time back at Dillon Hall and back at Lewis Hall, and the wonderful, wonderful friends that we have from those times. And just to see that spirit and that ethos in Notre Dame is as alive and well as ever. And I'll tell you, it's the reason why Mary and I have committed to donate to the Student Emergency Relief Fund, and we're very proud donors to that fund for that exact reason.
Well, Dr. Donley, I appreciate you for doing that, and I also appreciate your taking the time out from your busy work to join us today. So best of luck to you and your wife as you continue to work with students there in London and work on helping your patients there in London. Thank you for joining us today on The Fight.
Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. Best of luck to you. And coming up, we're going to hear more about Notre Dame's students' need for financial aid right after this brief message.